Hi, everybody. It's Tim Constantine from the Washington Times, along with my good friend for America. He is Dave Bozell. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, there was a little speech. I don't know if you saw this, but the President of the United States, Donald Trump, did the State of the Union address. And I'll tell you what, I always like to break these down into various things. You know, if you like a message or you dislike a message, sometimes it distorts what you think. So I break it into pieces. I look at the delivery, I look at the content, and then I looked at whether or not it resonates with the public. And, you know, with delivery, I loved Ronald Reagan. I was not a fan of Barack Obama, but both of them had an orator skill that was pretty good. So their delivery was usually pretty good. I got to tell you, Donald Trump, I thought it was as good of a speech as I've ever seen him give. And you and I have seen him talk a lot.
Yeah.
He was relaxed. He was comfortable. He was funny. I thought the delivery was an A+.
Yeah, it didn't feel like an hour and 47 minutes. I mean, I was stunned actually when this report started coming out that was in fact the longest State of the Union speech of all time. I was stunned. I remember Bill Clinton's the long one that Bill Clinton gave, and that felt long. This one did not. This was entertaining. This was interactive. He goaded the Democrats into screaming at him for silly anti-American things. So I thought it was pitch perfect for most of it. Look, let's reframe what this administration is up against. Near total negative coverage from the entrenched legacy, so-called legacy media. Media Research Center has quantified this: 92, 94, 98 negative% coverage against the president. And then when you shift to the tech sector, unless you're on X, it's a total blockade from the Googles and the Apples and the other aggregators of the conservative media ecosystem, of the pro-America ecosystem. And so that's what this administration is up against. So he gets this opportunity to just sort of break through. Yeah, for us that watch this stuff day in and day out, it was a kind of a rehash of the greatest hits. But look, there's going to be uninitiated viewers out there who are hearing these things, believe it or not, for the first time.
Your point is spot on. I was on one of the networks after the speech was over, and the Democrat representative was saying, well, all he did was talk about things we already knew anyway. And I said exactly what you just did, is that for those of us that work in Washington, yes, we know these policies, we know what he's trying to do, we know what he has done, we know who likes it and who doesn't. But if you live in Iowa and you've got 2 kids and you're going to work every day, you don't follow that stuff the way we do. This was an opportunity for him to deliver that message. And it's the reason, you are absolutely right, it's the reason why the State of the Union is still so important.
Yeah, I mean, especially for young people out there. I mean, if you're a young person, you're going to be generally tapped to go fight overseas on behalf of America. The fact that he's solved 8 wars, that may be news to you. Or if you're trying to get into the economy and they pass a law that they're not taxing overtime and they're not taxing tips anymore, that may be news to you as you fill out your taxes coming up this April. So I don't want to hear any complaining anymore from panicans within the Republican Party about what they're going to run on. That was an hour and 47 minutes of greatest hits. Take all manner of different pieces from what you heard, and I'm sure 1 or 2 or 10 of them are going to work in your district. There are plenty of greatest hits to choose from. It's up to the Republicans in Congress to get the job done and win locally with these messages. 63%.
The president clearly knew what it was America needed to hear from him. He talked a lot. He talked about a lot of things, but he talked a lot about the economy in all its various forms. Inflation being down, mortgage rates being down, stock market and your 401k and retirements being up. He talked about various things like you said, the no tax on tips, the no tax on overtime, things that impact real people, not some broad, crazy idea that Washington has, but stuff that really hits home in the pocketbook. And he talked about those over and over. And then he did a wonderful job, I thought, and Reagan was the best at this, but I thought Trump was amazing at sprinkling in patriotism. He had the USA hockey, gold medal hockey team there, the chants of USA, USA filling the place. Even the Democrats had to applaud for the hockey team. It was fantastic. And then you talk about veterans that were 100 years old and veterans that were 21 years old, everything in between. It was, I thought, both strong content, but politically, and that's part of the whole equation. Politically, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, it felt good to be an American. It really did. First time in well, those of us who have followed this administration closely and know what they're doing, feels good to wake up in the morning being an American. Those that are just suffering from TDS day and night, you may have heard something different. Look, the CNN had a flash poll, Tim, 63% positive response to the speech. Okay, that's a great number for him. That's a great
Let me take
number.
that even further.
Yeah.
They had, before the speech, they did a poll, CNN, and CNN are not fans. Their polls tend to skew to the left. They're not fans of Donald Trump. And before the speech was even given, they took a poll and they said, do you believe the president's policies are taking America in the right direction? This is before the speech. 54%. 54% said, yes, they did, which was an amazing number. That shocked the people on CNN. After the speech, when it was done, they did the same question after the speech. Do you believe this president's policies are taking America in the right direction? 64% said yes, a 10% jump just from hearing the content of that hour and 47 minutes.
It's a terrific number, but it also shines a light on the media blockade of the pro-America conservative media ecosystem. That number should have been 64% months ago. And the Republicans should be wondering, not if they're going to hold the House or hold the Senate, how many more seats they're going to gain because of the things that they've been able to pass and the executive orders that Trump has been able to sign. And look, he looked like he was having fun. And I think he brought the country along with him.
We talked about delivery, and he did a great job. We talked about substance, and he hit all the points he needed to hit. But then when we talk about politics, which is part of the game, of course, I thought it was brilliant when he said, if you believe it should be Americans first ahead of illegal aliens, please stand up. Because the Democrats, there's no way, they all sat, of course, perfectly silent, and then he could mock them for it. But it was such a statement piece, it was a little bit of trickery, because either they stand up and they're agreeing with the president they hate, or they sit there and they look silly because they're saying, no, Americans aren't ahead of illegal aliens. There is no way for them to win that. It was political brilliance.
Right. That's going to be in every single district as an ad from here. It should be. I mean, if I'm a Republican investor, I'm saying just give me that ad. I'm going to run that in every single district across the country, morning, noon, and night. If you're a content creator, Tim, and you want to make a meme out of that, put the American flag over the Republican side and put Google and Apple and MSNBC and NBC and ABC and CBS and CNN on the folks that were sitting down. I mean, that is the political dynamic right now. You're either pro-America and pro-American success, or you're anti-America and anti-American success. And that is a dividing line. And he did a pitch perfect job at really drawing those colors brightly.
Let me ask you what might be the most important question, and that is, can the speech move the needle? And by that, I mean, you and I watched it, and 18 million Americans watched it. But there are 330 million Americans, and of those, 300 million of them are going to get their opinion. They didn't watch the speech, so they're going to hear it through the lens of MSNBC, or through the lens of Fox, or through the lens. They're not going to simply hear it and watch it and decide for themselves. Someone else is going to tell them whether or not it was a good speech, whether or not the policies are good, and they're going to buy into that. So is it still an issue here that despite a great speech, despite a great message, despite some sharp politics, can the president move the needle from what's a limited audience?
Yeah, the flash polling, as we've discussed, suggests that those that watched it loved it, right? So you got to have, bake into the equation a little bit of a peer-to-peer endorsement model to put my marketing hat on, right? If those that didn't watch the speech have to listen to their peers who did, not the media who did not. So that's going to be part of the equation. But again, if you're running those ads, if the Republicans can get on TV and get up with those ads day in and day out, it really doesn't matter what the liberal media are going to say about the speech. The general public who may not have watched it are going to see that visual, and I think they're going to respond favorably. And he's in the catbird seat right now, which is great. This is exactly, I think, where he wanted to be. He said, hey, I'm going to just lay low. Maybe I'll be, if I'm negative in January, big deal. The point is to be ascending as the midterms get hotter and closer. So I think he did it. This was a great kickoff. And every member of Congress has something to work with now.
For America, he is Dave Bozell. I'm Tim Constantine. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you soon.